They say you should learn something new every day. Like how you should only drink Jägermeister at 0 degrees Fahrenheit, ice cold. Like those frozen cavemen they find, which makes you wonder, what would a caveman think of Jägermeister? Well, if you served it warm, he'd probably throw it in your face, say, "Unga boonga," and storm off. And nobody wants that. So drink it cold or not at all. Jägermeister. Damn, that's cold. Drink responsibly. Jägermeister liqueur, 35% alcohol by volume, imported by Mast Jägermeister, U.S., White Plains, New York.
K-pop Demon Hunters Haja Boys breakfast meal and Huntrix meal have just dropped at McDonald's. They're calling this a battle for the fans. What do you say to that, Rumi?
It's not a battle. So glad the Saja Boys could take breakfast and give our meal the rest of the day.
It is an honor to share.
No, it's our honor.
It is our larger honor.
No, really. Stop.
You can really feel the respect in this battle. Pick a meal to pick a side.
At participating McDonald's while supplies last.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Eyrie. Tonight, we was robbed, I tell you. I'm joined here by Grant and Josh. How we doing, boys?
Good. All good.
Good.
Doing better than I was on Saturday evening. Slowly getting my mood back, but still not fully over it.
Word on the street is that you had a rugby game yesterday night.
Yes, we did, and we got on a lot better than the Ospreys did, to be fair. But good win away at Gordon League. But yeah, please to be podding tonight instead.
There you go. Sounds good, mate. Score any points? Any kicks?
Unfortunately not. I'm not quick enough or talented enough to score points, unfortunately. So the team scored 62, of which I contributed 0.
Yeah, well,
Are you playing 10, Josh?
I am, but I'm a non-kicking 10. I'm more of a distributor.
I'm glad you said that, because if you scored that many points, you didn't get a kick. God,
Yeah, no, I very much delegate a lot of the kicking duties.
Well done.
Why not? So, before we get into the European Cup game, just a little bit of news coming out. Nothing official as of yet, but Tom Rogers on his way across the Lough Bridge, according to the Wales Online, which I don't know. What do we think?
He's a great player. I'm surprised he hasn't played a bit more for Wales since the autumn internationals. You would say, are we loaded with wingers and fullbacks? We seem to be loaded with fullbacks, but not necessarily out and out pace wingers. Minus Keelan and Luke Morgan with a fine game on the weekend, but Luke is 33 now.
Yeah,
at least maybe 43, Lord.
yeah. I think that Tom Rogers has got to be the only player who's got a hat trick against the All Blacks, and then didn't get played again after that.
Yeah.
He's always looked tight though. I always think of the I can't remember which South African team it was where he stepped when International scored a fantastic try last season, was it? In the corner? I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Can't
Maybe
remember.
not. But yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
Try.
It's an interesting one if it does come through. It makes me wonder about certain players kind of going forward, so to speak. I think like as a fullback, it makes sense. You got Nagy, you got Walsh. There's rumours of Walsh not
Go the other
sticking
way.
around, isn't there?
If I try not to be my usual negative self here, which I'm afraid I'm going to be. I don't know. I'm not really blown away by Tom Rogers, if I'm honest. And I think we've probably got a bit more cap space, so to speak, with Jack and Derry leaving. I'm not sure what restrictions we currently have in place in terms of who we can sign and whether they're of Welsh national interest or not. But yeah, I don't know. Signing a fringe international winger who could be in squads, but not necessarily in the match day 23, so unavailable to us. It feels more of a luxury signing, and I'd have rather the money got spent elsewhere, if I'm honest. I know everyone said, "Oh, he scored he scored a hat trick against the All Blacks," which to be fair, yeah, fair play. But if I'm honest, all of our wingers could have scored the 3 tries he scored against the All Blacks. I think one of them he had to beat one player, which was the fullback who was drifting across, and you just had to step inside. One of them was a decent pickup, and the other one was a walk in. So I'm not being funny. Luke Morgan and Ryan Combe could have scored those 3. Um, and I'm not, yeah. I mean, if he signs for us, I'm fully behind him, and I hope he does amazing for us. But for me, if it signifies that potentially Welsh is going the other way, because what is being rumoured is he's joining us because he wants to play fullback more. Well, Welsh has played every game at fullback for us, so he's obviously got some information that either Welsh isn't sticking around, or he's going to be playing fullback with Welsh because Dan's our starting 10. So for me, if Walsh has gone the other way, I think Scarlets have got the better deal there, because I think Walsh is someone who's around all year long. He can play 10, 15. He's so important to us in terms of a second distributor. And we've talked about it on the pod with, if Dan plays with Keith, he needs a second distributor. And I don't think Tom Rogers is that. So we always have to completely change the way we're going to play the game. So yeah, it's an interesting signing, but I can't say I'm like really excited for it yet. But I hope he proves me wrong.
I think as a 15, I'd agree with you, Josh. But as a potential winger, when you look at what we've got and who's out of contract and who might be coming to the end of the playing days, then he might be a great addition as a right winger.
Yeah, no, yeah, 100%. Especially if you're looking at Luke Morgan potentially, hanging up his boots, or Dan Sunday. I don't know where he's up to with his contract. So yeah, as you say, like we could definitely do with some more depth. And Keelan's been a bit unlucky with injuries the last few weeks, so hopefully that doesn't continue.
I think the question on everyone's lips is, would you have scored those tries, Josh?
I 100% would have scored none of those tries. I have no pace, no athletic ability. So yeah. Just be absolutely clear, I'm not saying I would have scored the tries. I'm saying like a professional winger would have scored those tries.
And do you know what? I am really happy to say this. That's it for the news. For once. Cue something being leaked by some journalist during the pod, but as far as I'm aware right now, there is no other news. So we can move on to a disappointing loss out in Ulster in what I think we can call less than favourable conditions. Yeah, so sadly, the European adventure is over for another year. What did you make of the game, boys?
Well, do we fast forward to the 77th minute and start off with we were robbed? Oh God, do you want to talk about the rest of the game first?
I mean, you know what? I don't mind. We can start with it, or we can talk about some other things. Because I'm not. I, I don't think we were robbed. I think there was opportunities to win that game before that, and I think that actually, like, it wasn't a great performance from the team. I don't know what you think, but I don't know. It just seemed a bit all over the place, a lack of physicality on times.
On times, yeah. I watched the game back. I'm surprised that there were periods where there was just a lack of penetration or a lack of pace and just one-up runners going nowhere. And there's other times in the game where we started having quick ball, we started moving it around, we started looking really good again. And Luke Morgan, I thought was 11 out of 10. He was outstanding in terms of getting over the gain line and getting his hand on the ball. Well, he didn't touch the ball, I don't think, in the first half. The second half, I thought he was brilliant. But yeah, there were periods where we just it's like we flicked the off button again, and that's when we had the ball as well. We had a lot of ball in the second half of the first half, and we didn't go very far with it, did we, for a long time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me that's potentially where Hardy comes in. I think Ruben's a cracking player, really good around the fringes, but I do think Hardy's potentially slightly more experienced, and he's slightly better at managing those middle thirds where we're not getting gain line, and he's able to pick the right time to sort of kick when he needs to. Um, but
I think that's harsh. I thought Ruben had a really, really good game, one of his best games in a long time. And
yeah,
it's not Ruben losing line out to critical times in the opposition's 22 again, is it?
no, 100%.
That's where we butchering opportunities again. Line out starts are fairly even across both sides, but we always seem to lose it when we're in a really good attacking position.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I wasn't having a go at Ruben at all. I promise. I was, yeah, it was more just a selection thing where to be honest, I prefer it to be the other way, where Hardy starts and Ruben comes off the bench. But yeah, I think with the line out, it's a difficult one because it was obviously like Storm Dave was kicking up, and I think the
Yeah.
fact that both teams did struggle in that area to me maybe signifies it might have been a Storm thing. But having said that, you look at the Benetton game, our line out struggled there as well. So is it a potential area that we do need to strengthen up?
When people compete against us, they can make us look pretty average, can they?
Yeah.
We get some lovely clean line of ball, and when we have quick line of ball, we look really good. But it's just consistency, isn't it? It's like, and if people do start challenging us, do we go to the simpler ball earlier on? You look at the opportunity where Steph Thomas took a really scrappy line just when we did, well, nearly scored at the end. Then it's like, oh my, that's a complete cock up, and we saved it with it landing at a prop stand at the back of like 15 yards from where he threw it. You knock that, chalk that one off our stats as well, and our lineup must have been, it was under 80% success rate, and would have been a bit lower if we'd hadn't saved that one at the back of the lineup.
Yeah. I think as well, I alluded to earlier, there was a lot of points left out there. A lot of like opportunities that should have been put away. We're talking about lineouts and stuff. And that's why like I'm hesitant to say, oh, the ref like was to blame for that because he shouldn't be in that position in the first place, considering like the opportunities that were out there that to score. And like Ulster's game plan like wasn't exactly like tearing up trees, was it? It was like give it to the those players that make the difference. So give it to your Timonees, give it to your Stockdales, give it to your McCloskeys, and then off they go. It was, like it's disappointing that like with such a limited kind of game plan, like Ulster managed to like, you know, do as
Yeah,
well as they did. I mean, I do quite enjoy seeing a fellow Baldy, a fellow egg, getting getting a run out though, to be fair, like Jacob Stockdale circa 2018 on the charge,
Yeah.
but
he
with
was
significantly
good.
less hair. Enjoyed that. Didn't actually enjoy that. I was just watching someone tackle him. The way he threw, he ragdolled. I can't remember who it was now. Gosh, seems like so long ago. Was it Ruben? I think he ragdolled Ruben.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely ragdoll Ruben. I was like, oh, come
Hmm.
on. But yeah, I just thought it was quite
You know, we
disappointing in parts.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, there was good bits, isn't it? When we started moving the ball with a bit of pace, we looked fine. When we just smashed it into a brick ball, that's all it looked like. And when you Ulster had a simple game plan, but they just seem to be quite effective in terms of getting over the gain line and getting the right players running with the ball, and not just taking the ball standing still very often and then trying to trundle it forward and or effectively just moving the rucks around 10 yards from where the last one was, which is what it
Yeah.
felt like for a long time.
yeah.
You hit the
Um,
nail on the head on one of those points in terms of like the getting the right ball carriers on the ball. I think that's one thing that Wales massively improved on as they went through the Six Nations is getting your big ball carriers carrying and having people in the right position to carry. For example, for Wales, that's obviously like players like Lake or Carey, boys who can get over the gain line. I do think Ospreys, I We obviously have stronger carriers, people like Morgan Morris, who was superb in the game, by the way. He looks back to his best, which is great to see. Um, but yeah, let's get those close to the line. Let's get those boys on the ball a bit more. Jack Morgan, let's have him as as the tip-on option or the first pod carrier instead of getting some of the smaller forwards, to do that carrying work. Because there was a time where whenever we got within the 22, it just felt like it was a matter of time before we scored. When we look at our best, we've got Kieran running hard. Then you've got Morgan Morris going around the corner. You have, Darry when he's fit going around the corner. Then you have Jack Morgan carrying, and it's asking a lot of defenders to try and make tackles on those sort of powerful athletes again and again and again. And that also comes, I think, from speed of ball in the 22. But at the moment, our red zone efficiency, I think, is pretty poor. I feel like it's when we're in the 22 now, I'm kind of waiting for us to get turned over rather than being in a position where it's only a matter of time before we get over the line here.
Yeah. Which was a surprise considering at the start of the season it felt like everything was pretty well drilled and like the backs moves were working really well. It's a surprise to see that kind of how like clinical they seemed has like dropped off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I think all in all it's just disappointing. I think it was just a disappointing loss, you know. Because it felt like it was there to win and technically uh kind of did win. Um if we think about it. Uh yeah. I guess we've got to address it. Um just wasn't a forward pass, was it? Really? Let's be honest. I don't know if anyone disagrees.
I won't disagree with that. No.
Nope, I'm not going to disagree.
If you look at angles, if you look at the way he's being tackled at the time, whichever way you look at it, okay, if you're just honest about the fact he's flicking the ball up because he's going down, he's flicked it up. Yeah, he hasn't thrown it forward, he's flicked it up and to a player who's standing 2 yards behind him, or running 2 yards behind him.
Yeah.
I think it was really harsh.
Yeah, what really annoys me is people going, just simply looking at the lines and going, he's caught it in front of where he passed it, hence it must be forward, not understanding at all how physics works.
But I mean, it all boils down to the question that's been asked, doesn't it? That's the problem here. Is actually like the intervention of like there's been a clear forward pass.
Well, the team was convinced, wasn't he? Because the ref was entirely happy with it.
And I just think that while I don't particularly want to talk about like referees, because I think the refereeing in general is actually pretty good, and rugby's a very, very hard game to actually referee and get everything right. It's not an exact science. I do think you're in trouble when the wording of a question is going to influence the outcome of a game. Like I think of that's where like I'm like, you know what, that is something that like could easily be rectified, is actually how you word something. It doesn't seem right to me that in a game that is supposed to be people start at 0-0, there's a load of chaos and a winner comes out on top. And it's all about the fairness. And I know fairness in sport is a whole nother discussion. Does it really exist? Could do a whole pod on that if you wanted to. But like for the outcome of an action in one game to result in a team losing, and the outcome in another game to result in a team winning based on how you structure a sentence, an off-field thing, does bother me slightly, in all honesty.
Yeah, I think as a more general point, just for rugby overall, I mean, I don't think it's great when you have a 50-50 call being intervened. Like that moment was a huge moment for the Ospreys. And as a fan watching, even as a neutral, following the game of rugby, you're going to get infused by moments like that. But as soon as you start dampening those moments by TMO intervention, especially when it's not a clear and obvious error, which it wasn't a clear and obvious error. It's a 50-50 call. People tend to be quite split. And even the Ulster supporters, or Stephen Ferris, who's the most one-eyed Ulsterman you'll ever meet, says, I think that's incredibly harsh. Yeah, I don't think it's great for the game in terms of intervening in those situations. Yeah, it's just incredibly frustrating. As you say, like it's just the lack of consistency. You could watch that with 5 different TMOs, with 5 different referees on 5 different days, and get different outcomes every time.
I think if you went back over the weekend and watched every other game, then there's probably a pile of calls which weren't made with the ball went through a lot further forward than that one.
Yeah, Menoncello's comes to mind for the try, Benetton. Don't know if anyone saw that. It was exactly the same.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that I know it's not card, but that one annoyed me as well. It was more the fact of the way he spoke to sort of Ben Thomas and sort of dismissed him. But he's not, he's not going to speak for the sake of it. If he doesn't believe that something has happened, then he's not going to raise it. It's the fact that sometimes referees don't look back on stuff players have said, and I guess you can't always do that. But if a player's said it to you, he knows there's cameras around, and he knows you're going to have to see physical evidence of it anyway. I don't see why they'd raise it if there wasn't a point to be made. But that's a separate point on the Cardiff game. But yeah, officiating more generally in rugby, I think there needs to be more consistency.
But we need a simpler game. Make it
yeah,
easier to referee properly. Or limit especially limit what the TMO can actually do. Because it does get depressing, doesn't it? When when I'm on Sky Scanner, looking for the best way to get a La Rochelle, I'm going, right, I'm there, I'm nearly there. Hang on a minute. Oh no, please don't do it to me.
yeah, yeah. No, I think you're right. I think the game is like impossible to referee now to an extent, and there's always going to be things that go in it because of the rules, but also because of the way that people push the rules as well. Teams live on that edge, don't they? So I think looking for true objectivity in refereeing is never going to happen. But
Yeah. But
yeah,
for Mark Jones, though, okay, if you're well beaten, you're well beaten, and But to come to, how many games have we ended this year, okay, with 3 tries or within 7 points, okay, and we just can't quite get it over the edge. Okay? It must be really frustrating thinking, right, we're that close to it. We get better and better and better, then we get a slap in the face.
yeah.
And it feels like half the time we're getting a slap in the face because of officiating, okay, but it's really frustrating.
But it's also I don't think that like I think that one of the big weaknesses, and maybe you can absolutely disagree with me on, is like they don't control games very well. And you can feel momentum shifting, and then it's really hard. Like I think that most of the games this season, when you see these losses, there's a shift in momentum, and then like the Ospreys find it really hard to wrestle that back, almost, it like and get back into control. There are these massive like parts of games where I accept that in most games you're going to lose control at some point. The team's going to come back into it, but it's about being able to react to that and like play in the right areas. And I think as well that comes from having quite a young fly half, and the experience that they'll gain, and also, you know, I would tend to agree with Josh's point, which is like Ruben had a really good game, but he doesn't control things as well as Hardy does. I think Hardy comes on nuts and bolts and does it really, really well. And I find that like it doesn't matter which round you play these two scrum halves, at some point you're going to lose control and gain control based on them because of the way they dictate the games. And Ruben just doesn't dictate the game as well as Hardy. I don't know if feel free to disagree, but
Yeah, I think, yeah, for me, I do agree with the loss of control in games, but I also do partly put that down to the amount of the experience we've lost sort of over the last few years. I think I saw someone put a post out about a team that played Leicester a few years ago. When we won at Welford Road, it's what, 2-3 seasons ago. You can go through that team, and of that team, I think only 1 or 2 are still going to be at the Ospreys next year. I mean, you look at, you had Nicky Smith, Derry Lake, Tom Francis. None of them are going to be there. And you had Adam Beard, Alan Wynne. Both of them aren't going to be there. Jack Morgan's obviously gone. And then going sort of, further wide, we've lost a lot of experience there. And I do think those sort of players help guide decision makers in terms of Dan Edwards. And,
Yeah.
even at my level, I get, my forwards tell me, look, Josh, the forwards are knackered. You're going to have to put your foot on the ball now. You're going to have to slow down the game a little bit. And it's those players around you who can kind of guide you and get a feeling for how the game's going. And I do think we're maybe lacking leaders, and we've got quite a young squad now, an experienced squad.
Bring back Stephen Myler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anything else to add?
I think there were a lot of positives. Just like going back to that final try that was disallowed. I thought the way we managed that period against the wind in howling rain, you're more than three points down. I think we're 4 points down at the time, so we needed a try. I know we didn't end up getting the score, but the fact we're able to work our way up the field the way we did, I thought was mega impressive. Well, that showed really impressive maturity, really, really impressive game management. And it's just a shame we didn't get reward at the end of it. They can take a lot of positives from that period of play.
Yeah, all we need to do now, okay, yeah, cup done and dusted. 4 games left in the league, provided we don't drop a single point, okay, and pick up 20 points from 4 games, then yeah, it's not over. One minor. Oh, sorry, and a pile of other results going our way. Ever the optimist.
I tell you what, if Luke Morgan wants to keep playing like that, I reckon we're going to do it. He'll score 5 tries himself. Fair play to the boy.
Aptitude and capability and speed is like, right, yeah, that's performance of the season from our back three. Yeah. I thought he was definitely best choice of the back three by a long way. Dan was quiet, Jack made a few mistakes, but I thought Luke Morgan was just genuinely outstanding.
Yeah.
Lovely.
He's also in great nick as well. I reckon he could keep going for another season.
Yeah. It feels like he's had a season or 2 off, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, if anyone listening is enjoying what they are hearing, please just drop us a like, leave us a comment, and subscribe. And you can hear more about Josh's point scoring journey as a fly half. No, but genuinely, any subscription or likes great help. So please do so. I think before we wrap it up, we'll do the Sharks next week. I believe we'll do the Sharks review next week, and because there's a bye week this week for them now. So a quiet weekend. But it's not being a quiet weekend for the community.
No, it hasn't.
And Grant will lead us into the results.
Okay. Come on. Right. And we'll just flick through the Ulster performance. Right. SRC Cup, Carmarthen Quins 15, Aberafon 20. Good away win there. And a really tight game at Swansea. Swansea losing 33-34 to Bridgend. In the Premiership, Connecticut Wanderers 31, Neath 36. Championship East, Bridgend Athletic with a big 57-0 win over Innisfree. Championship West, Aberystwyth 28, Tondy 8. Ammanford 34, Tartar Steel 8. Bonamine 66, Gosainen 5. Crummock 5, Dunfund 43. Gowton 32, Glynny 38. Kenfigill 17, Newcastle Emlyn 33. Moving on to National League 6 East. I'm doing these in case anyone's wondering about the order in terms of East, West, West Central, etc. That's why the divisions look like they're bouncing around. Right. So League 6 East Central, Bridgend Athletic seconds 24, St Peter's Athletic 14. National League 1 West Central, Abercrave 12, Ystlafera 11. Bithwell 33, Estragunlais 21. Halekew 19, Abergavenny Green Stars 22. League 2 West Central, Brynarman 16, Puthcall 22. Bincethin 17, Aberafon Quins 30. And Pencoed 52, Birchgrove 7. I think this is finally. League 3 West Central, My State Celtic 5, Tonmouth 31. Nantymoel 3, Resolven 31. Tonna 25, Ricos 22. League 4 West Central, Cwmgors 11, Ken Crew 27. League 5 West Central, Cwmgrach 40, Dunvant Athletic 31. And Glyn Corrug 5, Cwmtwch 23. There endeth community results.
All right. Well, with that, it's been an absolute pleasure. Boys, it's nice to see you all as always. Yeah, thank you for listening, everybody. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Looking forward to catching up with you boys next week. So, no stuff.
Coverage varies by plan. View contract and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. Do you own a 2005 or newer vehicle with a manufacturer's warranty about to expire or no warranty coverage at all? With the cost of living on the rise, Endurance is now offering a low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save you thousands off costly vehicle repairs. Get your vehicle protected under this coverage and have all future covered auto repairs paid directly to the repair shop for you. Roadside service, towing, and rental coverage are included. Visit endurancewarranty.com. Endurancewarranty.com.